Hello, hello. Let's warm up with some introductions. My name is Martin. I am the Eco Growth Manager at Orochi Network. And what is Orochi Network? We are an R&D company. We are focusing on ZK, and we've been having some open source contributions for Ethereum as well. And as for our products, we have data-centric solutions. And right now we are focusing on verifiable data infrastructure.
Oh, hey guys, this is Dirk. Xin chào, glad to be here. I'm the co-founder of Cudis. At Cudis, we are trying to build a hardware that's trying to incorporate blockchain AI and incentivize your wellness journey. So we actually have a hardware product where we're trying to allow people to get incentivized for stay healthy. And then we're also trying to allow people to own their own wellness data. So glad to be here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the 98 team for inviting me. My name is Lilian. I've been at Amazon Web Services for over 10 years. So I think folks probably are wondering what big tech is doing at a conference about decentralization. If you look at what AWS has been doing in Web3, we've actually been doing the crypto part for over 10 years. So we've been working with a lot of the large centralized exchanges like Coinbase for over 10 years. Now, if you look at the top 10 centralized exchanges by volume, so folks like Binance or Crypto.com, we actually manage 10% of that trade volume on AWS backbone. So that gave us really good expertise to then come into the decentralized space. So if you look at decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, Jupiter, a lot of those folks run infrastructure on us as well. And that's because they care about very similar things as centralized exchanges, things like latency, scalability. During a bull market, you have to be able to scale up your compute capacity and serve requests. During a bear run, unfortunately, you usually have to scale that infrastructure down, but that has enabled a lot of these DeFi protocols to actually make it through these bull and bear cycles and be equally successful in each phase. In AI, we have a bunch of services to support different types of customers running all different types of models on us. There is a service that we have called Bedrock, which allows you to access all different types of foundational models, large language models, through one API call. And we also recently released a very interesting Gen AI-powered IDE called Cairo, which I highly recommend you all take a look at.
Hello, everyone. My name is Max Lee. I'm the founder and the CEO of OORT, OORT. And in the meanwhile, I'm the faculty member at Columbia University in the city of New York. I'm working with the electrical engineering department. And my research interests are AI and blockchain. I started to teach AI and blockchain courses at Columbia University in the engineering school since 2017. So at OORT, this is the startup. At the beginning, it was a research topic in my research lab many years back, and then we decided to bring this, research results to the business basically 4 years ago. And we are trying to build the data cloud for decentralized AI. But at that time, when we founded this company, there's no concept like a decentralized AI, right? So it's still too early. What we provide is the solutions that, for AI companies to provide the end-to-end solution for these AI clients, AI builders, to collect data, to store and process the data, and monetize all these AI valuable data sets. So we're with, laser focus on the data layer of this decentralized AI infrastructure, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Eligos from Sahara AI. So Sahara AI, we are building an AI native blockchain, which trying to empower the end-to-end development of AI assets, the models, and also the monetizations of the revenue of how developers and also companies should share the economics, and also how we can bootstrap the decentralized AI.
Wonderful. Such an honor to be here with some of the tech giants in this AI sector. I think we can all agree that AI is the massive wave of technology, soon redefining how users are going to be interacting with compute, business, with each other. And AI should be in service of users, meaning that it should be decentralized, accessible, verifiable. Now, all these values deeply align with crypto and blockchain. And that is the topic that we are going to be discussing here today, where AI and blockchain intersect. Now, a lot of people, when they hear about the intersection between AI and blockchain, ask, how could that even work? AI is by nature a centralizing force, and blockchain, on the other hand, is all about decentralization. So the first question is, why would AI even need blockchain? What problems in AI today make decentralization actually useful or necessary?
I can start first. So if you think about an AI model, there are three key components. The first thing is the computing power. The second thing is the data, and the third thing is the model. So so out of those three key components, I think at least the computing power as well as the data can be actually provided by a decentralized group, and that's where the blockchain can kick in, right? Because I think we have there are a lot of projects that have already proved that decentralized hash power, decentralized computing power, GPU or shared GPU can be actually the future of can be the future because they are providing on par or even like through the incentive scheme. People are actually we're actually seeing increased hash power or computing power in the space, and also so is the case for data for data handling. For example, I think for a lot of data, it can be collected by your normal individuals. For example, I think I gotta mention some of the projects in the space, right? For example, Hive Mapper, they're collecting your location data as well as the geographic geographic location data. For other projects, they're collecting what they might be collecting weather data, but this is collected by on a decentralized basis. So I think out of the three key components, the two, which is the computing power as well as the data labeling, the data collection it's actually more efficient for a mass group to do the job. So that's where blockchain can kick in and where blockchain can manifest in the AI plus blockchain scene.
Yeah, I want to add to that, and I think a bit better when I stand up, and I think it's very cool to like walk down this catwalk and be closer to you guys. So just to add on, right? Like I think the data part is super important, especially for like a cloud computing company when you're talking about, a bunch of companies are storing data on AWS. Like how do you secure that and kind of make sure that it's private? So it's stuff that Tom just now spoke about as well. And actually there are a lot of issues with like centralizing data, right? That a lot of great companies are out there solving. So for example, when you have data centralization, how do you solve for things like data ownership? Like what Tom said earlier, right? Like Gmail, it has like all of our data, and the reason the service is free is because they get access to our data. Okay, I will come back because there is feedback, and I know that doesn't sound great. I have learned my lesson. So yeah, data ownership is a big issue. How do I make sure that if I share my data to an enterprise, they're not using that to train models, or they're not turning around and like selling it to other enterprises and marketing that data? I think that's an issue that definitely like across marketing and advertisement is something that is a big use case that like companies can address. So there is a project called Ocean Protocol, which actually provides not verifiable data, but data provenance. So making sure that you can share your data without actually losing the data privacy, and ensuring that when enterprises actually access the data, you're not exposing that raw data to them. So that's one thing. Bias is another issue. So how do you make sure that the data that these companies are training on, that the models themselves are actually having data that's well represented? So we're talking about like inclusivity and diversion, making sure that folks in emerging markets are equally as represented, or there's like representation around different types of languages. So how do we make sure that there are large language models that also cover languages that are not always the top 5 that are spoken? So we see a lot of folks that are local to Southeast Asia, like Mesolitica, for example, that are doing Malaysia Bahasa large language models. So yeah, I think there's so much opportunity and problems that still need to be solved today, and all that coming onto the blockchain to make sure that one of the major problems that blockchain does solve is provenance, right? So yeah, I think there's still a lot of opportunity for projects to come in and capitalize in this space.
Well, I think your question is equivalent to another question saying that what is the decentralized AI and why we need decentralized AI? What's the motivation behind the scene? So I think it's all about the trust. And because so far, we don't have any trust on these AIs. And a few days ago, we have this ChatGPT 5, right? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to test it yet, but again, even I don't trust it. I don't test it yet, but I don't trust it. Because why? Because it's all transparency, right? So the lack of transparency means like there's no trust about the AI agent or the large language model because it's all black box for you. So you don't know where they collect the data for model training. You don't know what their model looks like inside, and you don't know where the model is operating. You don't know like how they use your data when you chat with the ChatGPT. It's all about transparency. Just like by nature, this is much more like you're making friends with some human beings, right? So if you don't know the boy, the girl, and you have a completely no idea about her education background, her family, or her friend network, nothing, even the name, how can you build the trust? How can you make friends with this boy or girl, right? So it's the same logic here. And why we need blockchain, or we call it decentralized AI. Decentralized AI is not the goal. It's not the goal that we want to build. So it's only the approach that we can push the certain level of transparency, right? So as long as the more transparency you have, the more trust you have. And I think the trust on these AI models or AI agents is the foundation for massive adoption, right? So far, people are okay because people are so excited about the capability of these AI agents. And so because this is new, but after a few years, when they're not new, and you're surrounded by so many AI agents, and the next question will be what? Will be like, can I trust it? If I want to buy this device or AI boss at home, can I trust it, right? So that will be the question in the coming year. But now, if we start to build something from right now, I would say we're the pioneers, and we already think what people are gonna think a few years later. So that's the decentralized AI, and the goal is all about the trust and the transparency. So,
Thanks. I would say blockchain actually is a tool or a technologies. We solve 2 issues. One is like what we have just mentioned and mentioned multiple times. That's about trust, right? So I would say like blockchain actually provides the traceable accountabilities and also like the proven record, because blockchain is immutable, and also the actions or like the data ownerships can be like greatly controlled in blockchain. So these are the first things that we can leveraging blockchains to resolve the issues or empower decentralized AI. Another one I would say is actually the modernization of data, right? So let me take an example. So yesterday I went to some shopping mall and I want to get a dinner. So I opened Google Maps and see where is the best place to have a dinner, or what's the cuisine I would like to take. And after that, I'm happy with it, so I leave a comment. But I didn't get reward from leaving a comment, but Google is actually taking my comment as a data and also empowering their product to make more profit, through their advertisement or other business channel. So, and also especially currently the most largest AI model are all closed, right? They are not sharing everything, even though that's why we do not trust them, and also we are not getting any benefit from them. But actually we are feeding them with our data and also our knowledge. And with blockchain and also decentralized AI, So we can actually build a mechanism like how our data can be like measurable, like a part of the contributions of the futures data set or the futures AI. So the contributors, the developers, and also the normal users can also get motivated and also like to be eager to contribute in the AI development. It will also be like, I would say it's the next phase of like not only open source AI model, but also like a modernization of AI model.
Good points from all of you. I think that even nowadays, when we are using AI, we always have to we have to wonder who made this AI, right? Let's say if you ask Grok about Elon Musk, he's going to be praising him like a king. But if you ask an AI from Meta, maybe the answer is not going to be very, very positive, right? If you ask DeepSeek about some political aspects in China, it may give out answers that may differ from other AI models, right? So bottom line is, I think that core knowledge like history, medicine, they should all be common goods, accessible to all the people, right? So bottom line is, I think that decision making or decision affecting systems that impact billions of lives should be transparent, right? So what are the areas where AI and Web3 truly intersect today? And which areas in the AI tech stack do actually make sense to build on blockchain?
I think all the panelists here just answered the question. The first thing is the data part. That because blockchain provides a natural channel for participants who provided the data to get incentivized. So that's why we're seeing a lot of AI companies incentivize their users for providing data for data labeling, for cleaning up the data. So that's a natural fit. The second thing is something from what I said last time. It was the sharing of hash power, the sharing of decentralized sharing of GPU, the sharing of computing power. So you know that there's always leftover of your computing power on your laptop, on your phone, or on your any smart devices. And if you're able to put that into use, contributed to the whole network, it's going to make a difference. Those little things can add to make a difference, and you get your share of the revenue or of the value, right? So those two things are naturally innate to be integrated into blockchain. And I also want to touch upon a little bit of what we do, because we are tapping into a field where I don't think a lot of people realize, that is personal wellness or personal health data. Normally, these type of data are actually collected and stored or controlled by large companies like Apple Health, like Google, for example. But now you might not know where those data are coming into, who use those data, who use those data to train the model. But now we're providing a way where people can actually control the data on chain. They'll see how transparent their data is used, who we're collaborating with, and they're getting their share of value from that data. So that's really important.
Yeah, and actually that was super interesting. It makes me, and especially like to kind of learn about how Cudis is using user data, but also giving the ownership back, because I think data ownership is, mentioning before, like a key problem. So there's this startup called Origin Trail. So they do a decentralized knowledge graph. So basically you can bring your data in, and then they create an NFT out of it, and it's verifiable. So like where it comes from, you have like the ownership of it, and then you can decide sort of who you share that with. So I think that solves like a very key problem, but also opens a lot of opportunities and a lot of different use cases if people can actually, in a verifiable, secure way, bring data in, right? You can have use cases where you start even doing things like, I I guess, like personal investments. So let's say you're someone who has like a PhD and you want to get like another degree, but you don't have the funds to do it. Well, now you can kind of certify your credentials on chain, and then folks can kind of crowdsource your career effectively, right? And so if you look at like emerging markets, you're basically pooling in liquidity to support people and their careers and their professional lives. So I think that's a really interesting use case to think about bringing on chain as well.
Yes, because I've been working in this space for quite a while, and I think for now the most promising, the applications or use case for the interaction of Web3 and AI is about the AI data, which is I think we're all fully aligned at this point, right? Because it's very straightforward, and basically you can make, like what I just said, transparency is the key to build trust. And how can we build transparency then? Is about data. It could be the entry point, right? At least from the large language model perspective, if you can make your training data set transparent, this is the first step for your users to start to build trust about this model. Because if I know that what data set has been used to train ChatGPT 5, and this gonna largely encourage me to use that ChatGPT 5, right? GPT-5, because I trust them. I know this is the data set that he's using for training and fine tuning. And blockchain is by nature, it's easy to recording the data or verify the data, or there's lots of technologies. There's zero knowledge proof. I'm pretty sure you all heard about these names. And these all technologies can be applied there with leveraging the blockchain technology to help make the data collection, storage, pre-processing. Pre-processing, I mean that's the data cleaning and the data labeling, because that is the key for the model training. We call this from raw data to AI-ready data, right? High-quality AI-ready data. So this process, we call it pre-processing. So all this process can be recorded and it can be verified on blockchain. And I think this is by nature, even from a technical perspective, there's no barrier so far. It's mature, right? So that's why I said this is the most promising use case that we can work on right now. But of course, if people say there's a lot of decentralized GPU network and the blockchain can be used there, yes, of course. But from the real practical use case perspective, there's still a long way to go. But for data, could be quick, right? So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's true. So we have mentioned lots of things about data ownership on chain. So let me take one step forward. So let's talk about data modernizations on chain, right? So for example, actually Sahara AI also built an AI marketplace. So let me explain it in an example. For example, I really need Cudis health data to build something out, right? But maybe Cudis just provide a raw data, right? It's just what Dr. Max just mentioned. So it needs data cleansing. It takes a lot of steps to make it a usable data, right? But those people that helping us to clean the data should get rewarded, right? And then next step is, I build something interesting with Cudis data, and someone leveraged my agent to put into their agent, or act as an MCP, and then build something out, right? But the Cudis data and also the one that cleaned the Cudis data should also get rewarded on the entire chain of AI development, right? So that's what our Sahara AI marketplace is doing. We're trying to empower the step-by-step and also end-to-end development and the modelizations, not including data, but also on model and also the future development. So that's one step. And I would say blockchain also have another powerful tools, which is tokenomics. So with tokenomics, we can actually design and also leverage external power and also help us to build something powerful and also that what we are interested with. So I think that's the two main things that how blockchain can work with AI and to build a better stuff.
Awesome, awesome. Now, what's one thing that you think people aren't talking about enough when it comes to that intersection, AI and blockchain? Dirk?
I think leave me some time to think about this question. I think we.
Yeah, maybe I can take it first. So let's go from here. So I'll say, so in the market right now, lots of people are building application, but there's less people that building infrastructure, especially as a infrastructure that can like track the data provisions and also everything on chain. Like Sahara AI is still like a startup that we launched like 2 years, and we're trying to like profile and also to fulfill it. But I would say the data provision, like how everything is compliance on chain, how everything is traceable on chain, is still under development. Especially maybe some of us already developed like a decentralized storage, and also like how everything is accountable on chain. But how is it compliance with like different local like governance or local laws is still like what we are doing right now, and also that's what we are fighting for.
I think I can skip this question to save some time. I know you have more questions.
Okay.
I only have 10 minutes left, so
Oh, okay.
11 minutes or something like that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice the time.
All right.
Okay, Dirk, do you want to add on? Oh, Lilian.
I did have one point. I mean, let me get a sense of this. Like, how many people feel like we talk about DPIN enough? Raise your hand if you've heard enough about DPIN. All right. Ignore Dirk. I think, and maybe it's because, coming from Solana, it's a massive thing, right? Which I guess in like a chain agnostic conference, like I feel like we should talk about it more. And I know like, okay, so DPIN, right? Decentralized physical infrastructure. Like, how do you pool excess capacity of, GPUs, of storage into help doing things like model training, right? So there's a few companies that we work with who do this. Back to Solana, because I actually love talking about Solana. I always say AWS is chain agnostic, but I'm a Sol maxi. Solana is like an early, I guess, enabler of DPIN because of the nature of the chain. I think it's 30,000 transactions theoretical max. Is that what it is about? Versus I feel like on Ethereum, like you have fragmentation of all the L2s, and like DPIN isn't so much of a thing there because I think they're still trying to kind of build out a lot of the DeFi use cases. So when we come to Solana, DPIN is a really big thing because it no longer costs a lot of money to do a transaction, right? And so you can store a bunch of messages that you're getting from all of the decentralized devices on chain so that it's verifiable. Again, where it's coming from. There's transparency around the origin. And so we have a lot of projects that we're working with. Aethia, for example, that does decentralized GPUs. So again, pooling together excess capacity because it's so hard, right? It's so hard to work with NVIDIA and all these partners to actually get access to GPUs these days. And this is a part of the decentralization of AI, right? It's democratizing access to, outside of those 6 companies who can build models, who can build foundation models, large language models, et cetera. So I think DePIN is actually a really big part of how blockchain can unlock faster acceleration of AI development. There's another startup that we work with actually based in Vietnam called U2U. So they basically tap into everyone's mobile devices. And again, it's how do we get a little bit incremental more compute so that folks can do things like model rendering and all these different kinds of use cases, but not have to pay a bomb to get an NVIDIA GPU. So outside of Solana, I think that's a use case that probably isn't talked enough about.
Very cool. Okay, let's, Dirk, do you want to add on?
I think it's more about data security and how the data is stored. I'm thinking of from our case because we do have at least 50 gigabytes of data, and a lot. I think if you want to store everything on chain, a lot of data are actually sensitive, right? So you gotta explore ways either through DK or through FHE to store a lot of sensitive data on chain. But because this issue is too technical, I don't think a lot of companies or a lot of people actually know about this. But we do have these technologies where these data can be securely but also transparently stored and used.
Got it. Let's address the builders. So what do you think will take to encourage more developers to build meaningful AI solutions on decentralized infrastructure? Is it better tooling, clearer use cases, stronger incentives, or is there something deeper holding them back?
Well, yeah, I think I can start. Get it started from my side. So I think for developers, at least you know that I'm based in US, right? So I can tell a little bit more about developers in Western countries. So the key motivation for them is not monetary incentive. It's about the future that they have consensus, they all agree on. For example, I think one of the first decentralized AI project is called SETI Home at UC Berkeley, right? Many years back. Of course, we don't call it a decentralized AI at that time, but it's too early, right? But we know that's a SETI. What SETI do? If you don't know that, you can just Google that. SETI Home basically is a network. Although they don't use a blockchain technology there at that time, but they built a network to connect all the personal computers, gaming machines, servers, private server, public server, to this network to collaboratively do the data analysis from the telescope or something, trying to find the alliance, right? Aliens, right? So I think that's essentially, in my view, that's the earliest decentralized AI projects or DP network. But you know that there's no incentive at all. So I think their network has more than 20, like 1 million type of amount of users in the past few years, past 20 years or something like that. But there's zero incentive, no incentive. It's all about the interest. It's about the future that, I want to join this thing as a developer or as a contributor. I just want to join this project by contributing my computing power or my developing skill set to this project to help human beings to find the aliens, right? It's not about the money. But now I think here is the same thing. So decentralized AI is still in a very early stage. I give the pitch around the world, in UK, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, all these countries. There's no one knows decentralized AI, right? That's the future. But I think as long as we advocate this concept in the right way, we build a consensus among these builders, I think that's good enough. That's the key motivation. It's not like about I give you some tokens so you can come and build something, right? So.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. So, yeah, I think it's so we have to agree that centralized AI is more efficient than decentralized AI right now, especially we are on an early stage and they have lots of capital, right, compared to Brevi size and also Web2 AI. So I'll say so the gap between our toolings is still huge, is still big. So I'll say and that's what we are fighting for. So I'll say a better tooling is one of the way to attract more developers to get on board into building in decentralized AI.
I totally agree with Dr. Max that the incentives is not the best way. And it's hard for me to talk. I understand what a developer is. I'm about as technical as a potato, but I think if you think about within a tech company, the developers I sort of see as the heart and soul, really. They're driving a lot of the core decisions and they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears into it. Myself in a BD role, I'm basically just the jazz hands. This is pretty much it. I think that with developers, it's the incentivization. I guess the way to think about it is developers are, if they're really kind of powering the core business models, I would actually put it on the founders to be are you building the right business models to bring in developers who are interested to build with you and building that vision? Because I think that this is kind of one of the biggest problems with sort of Web3 and crypto is the wrong incentive mechanisms. I think we're all tired of the whole max extract thing, which is why a conference like Conviction is so exciting, because we're really looking for real life utility. We're always talking about what problems blockchain can actually solve, and not just what's the hottest new token or entity. There's a place for that, surely, but I just think that some of the best startups, outside of Web3, inside of Web3, have been grown and created and built in a time when we didn't have all of these massive token incentives. So the Web2 ones like Airbnb, Uber, those were all during massive funding downturns. Within Web3, CoinGecko, 10 plus years ago, they didn't raise any funding. They didn't do an ICO. And so we have this principle at Amazon called frugality. And basically, it doesn't mean being cheap. It just means being smart about how you choose to deploy your resources, because I think that constraints actually breeds creativity. It makes you, it forces you to kind of work around whatever limitations you have and to solve problems in a more like a creative way. So for me, like, I don't think incentives is the right thing. It's making sure that the founders, you have that vision, right? And like, I feel like founders almost have to be like a little bit delusional, because if you're not going to believe in yourself, like, who is? And they really set the tone to attract the developers. So that's what I think we need to do to make sure the developers are working on the right problems, is give them the right problems to work on.
I'll keep it really short. So first, I think the first thing that attracts more developers is that you've got an interesting data set where they can work with, where they cannot obtain from traditional Web2 space. And the second thing is the builder accountability issue. So like what Sahara AI is doing. So a lot of models cannot be built by one person, right? So you gotta have a mature accountability system to give credit to different developers.
Got it. With the time in mind, that was actually our final question. Thank you all for sharing wonderful insight. Thanks to Coin98 for organizing this wonderful event. And I guess I'll see you guys around.